I'm doing a personal video today, so for those of you who don't appreciate these kind of videos, you're not going to offend me by turning this video off and moving on to something else. This is just something I'm kind of doing for me. I lost a friend, and I just found out about it last night. I'm starting to feel it. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about him, because he was important to me. We met in the car business. I got into the car business about 10 years ago, and he was a natural salesperson. He sold all kinds of stuff in his life, different jobs. He was a telemarketer with a golden tongue. He could sell anything over the phone. And he was like a biker guy with tattoos and stuff, you know, kind of a rough and tough dude, rode a Harley. But just a friendly guy. A lot of people didn't understand him, but I understood him. I usually gravitate towards people maybe with little different personalities than status quo. And him and I were definitely polar opposites, but man, we got along great. He had a wife, 6 kids. You know, family man, very much a family man, very dedicated husband, and loved his kids. But he taught me the ins and outs of the car business. He was there to sit down with me and tell me what was what. And Mark was one of those guys who was always very sure of himself. Everything he said, you know, was gospel, had to be fact. And, you know, once in a while I just knew he was wrong. And, you know, I guess for the first, you know, maybe year of our friendship, I would just nod my head and just like, okay, Mark, yeah. But then it got to the point where we got close, and finally I'm like, dude, you're wrong. No, you get angry with me. I'm like, no, you're wrong. And he would just really, you know, big brother-like, just shake his finger at me. And we find out I was right, and he would just kind of like, sorry. It was a big joke after that. He was that way, though. Good guy. And we quit the car business, and we went to a few concerts together and some parties and things. We had a party at his house one time that was funny. First time at his house ever. It was his wife's birthday party, and I met his wife and some of his smaller kids, and I went over to get a beer out of the keg, and there was a girl there. I said, hey, can I tap you a beer? I'm like, oh, sure, you can tap me a beer. And, hi, and she introduced herself. Beautiful girl. And Marcus came up to me, put his arm around me, and said, hey, you having a good time, brother? And I'm like, yeah, but who is that hot chick serving beer? He's like, well, that's my daughter. And we had a laugh about that. It's Mark's story I remember very, very vividly. We saw Casey and the Sunshine Band together. That was fun. Yeah, just friends that maybe didn't talk a lot in recent years, because he went off and went into this company where they would go around the country and install backup batteries in cell phone towers, and it would take him out of state for sometimes months at a time. And then he was trying to get me a job doing that because it was pretty good money. But in the meantime, I rediscovered mobile DJing, and here I am. But what was cool about that was Mark had a laptop, had a GPS on it. He had to have a laptop to program these towers, I guess, and he had Wi-Fi. And he would watch my YouTube videos from the get-go, and he just loved them. And he would call me and tell me how much he loved them. And I think I had gotten Mark thinking about being a DJ. And this guy had the most beautiful speaking voice. He would have been a fantastic DJ, a radio. He'd have been a radio, just huge radio DJ with the voice. And just his speech patterns were awesome. The guy taught me so much about that kind of stuff, presentation. It's strange because he wasn't a DJ, but things that I learned from him, be it car business stuff, or be it sales stuff, or just speech patterns and presentation, I use now as a DJ. But Mark liked the videos, and he thought, hey, maybe I'd like to get into this. And I thought, oh man, that'd be so cool if you could. He was just never home enough. And we talked about maybe setting him up. But he called me when I was on my way to Atlantic City. In fact, it was at the airport. And he said, Brian, I want to come see you. I haven't seen your house yet. I've been on the road a lot. I'm coming home. I haven't been home in a long time. I'm going to be home for a couple weeks. I said, man, I am flying out to Atlantic City. Call me. I'll be home next week. Let's get together. And he said, all right, I really want to see you. So, yeah, I'm going to give you a call. Well, I never heard from him, and I didn't think anything of it because he was a very dedicated family guy, and I thought, well, he wants to spend time with his wife and kids. I'm not going to worry about it. Let him do his thing. Well, apparently he was sick on the road, and he knew he was sick, and he knew what was wrong with him. He had liver disease. He didn't tell me this. And as soon as he got home, he was admitted into the hospital right away and has been struggling ever since. And finally just passed on. But I don't have any mutual friends with Mark. I know his wife. I know his, I don't know his kids real well, but I know his kids. I know his wife well enough to, talk to her. But we don't have anybody, I don't have anybody to call up and say, hey, let's go have a beer and talk about Mark. I don't got anybody. And I missed the memorial service, unfortunately. I didn't find out about it until, like I said, last night, and he passed away last week, and my smartphone's a piece of crap. I got the message, but I didn't get the message. And it's starting to hit me. But I just wanted to do a video about my friend that no one who's watching this video knows. And just tell you that, he was a good guy. Because I got to tell somebody. But I will say this about Mark. I mean, I mentioned before he was a biker, tattoos, tough guy. Tough guy all day long. Tough guy. But when I talked to Mark on the phone, he always let me know that I was his friend. And he always said, I love you. And, not in a weird way. That was brother stuff. And that was heavy for him because he looked at me like a little brother. I looked at him like a big brother. And I'm going to miss him a lot. I'm going to turn the camera off. Thanks for watching.